Okay, wanted to talk about the 7800 Robotron game. There is some code that was written to use two controllers. Ideally, to be able to aim with one and navigate with the other. So you don't have to do anything fancy to make that work. You just plug in a second controller. But using two Atari sticks doesn't really work out real well. So with the Blender, we can simulate that with, let's say, an SNES controller. So here's a little demo. I mapped the buttons to the top, L and R. So this is your main button. This will be your secondary button. Obviously we can move around, and with the buttons we can shoot and do diagonals and all that other kind of stuff. Makes the game a lot more fun for anybody that's a Robotron fan. And you not having to deal with the sticks is kind of a big deal, because that really wasn't that pleasing. Now you can do this with any controller with the Blender. It doesn't really matter what it is. Even the PlayStation dual sticks, they would work. Blender allows you to map things in all kinds of different ways. So let's have a look at the setup here real quick. Okay, this is the Blender interface. Won't go into too much detail, but just kind of an overview. Up on the top you can pick pre-designed mappings. You can save them, and you can create your own. So on the left, the details are probably kind of small and hard to see, but it's labeled so that you can tell what's what on the actual module. It's a mirror image. So on the top left you have your inputs, be controller 1 or controller 2. You can use 1 or 2. And then you have the outputs. Again, you can split them into two controllers, or I'll combine them into one. So what we just did here is we took the buttons and we went ahead and mapped those to a directional out. Both buttons are on the outs. And then down here on the bottom, that's your hat control, and we mapped that to the main stick. So then the L and R buttons are mapped to the A and the B. So not a whole lot to it. The interface is pretty configurable. So it will take some time to get used to it, but you're welcome to check out all the presets and get a kind of a better idea how it works, or reach out for help, and we can design custom mappings for you. But it's all there, the ability to do it, and then when you're done you just kind of hit this program button. It'll go green when it sees the device, and it'll write it to the chip for you. Alright, let's take a look at the hardware. Okay, so here what we have, of course we have the controller that goes into an adapter. Any adapter that supports low-level API is going to work for this. So this one's the Gamer Pro Advanced. The next guy in the chain is going to be your Blender. So this little guy here is going to take in the inputs as shown on that screen earlier, and it's going to send the outputs on the other end. So after the output, we go into the actual Atari console. You have to ignore this big green round thing. That's just a makeshift switch, because those cables are in development. But what we have here are two bridge adapters. Those bridge adapters come off of here, and the bridge can read that low-level API output signal. And then, as you may know, the bridge works on any console. So they're plugged into the Atari, and that gives you the two controllers. So that's all done via the Blender. And the Blender is the thing that kind of just blends everything together and gives you options that you haven't had before. But there we go. That's a 7800 Robotron video. Thanks for watching.